Hello and welcome back to the Nest and Inside the Iggles live show. Thank you guys very much for joining us on this. What day is today? November 17th, Friday, November 17th. It's Friday before the Eagles week 11, called a Super Bowl rematch, if you will. I know I tuned in for a little bit on the Wednesday show. I wasn't here. I tuned in for a little bit on the Wednesday show and heard some discussion on whether or not that holds water. I believe it does, and we could talk about that. But we do have a lot to get into, so I'm just going to bring on my co-hosts right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Jalil Williams, we got Jeffrey Knox, we've got Brandon Pockris, and it's a full house with Tressany Sawyer. How is everybody doing?
What's up?
I'm doing mighty fine. I'm doing mighty fine. Jeff, that's one thing that I did catch. You don't like the Super Bowl rematch moniker.
It's because it isn't one.
That is
nobody who wins this game is going to win a Vince Lombardi trophy.
No, that is true. That is true.
And it's it's over. I don't even want to hear the word Super Bowl until we get back to another one and win it. I feel like we can win 3 more, and I'm still going to be disappointed about 57. But this is not a Super Bowl rematch. The stakes are not the same. It's in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium. Nobody wins anything after this game. There's no trophy. This is not the NBA now with this midseason trophy they got. I don't even know what the midseason trophy is. I stopped watching the NBA a long time ago because everybody's soft.
I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue that there's nothing to win. I'm not going to argue that there's nothing to win. And the fact when people say that the teams are different, that is true. That is true. But here's my question for you: what is the most important position in all of professional sports? Quarterback. And are these two the same quarterbacks as we saw in February?
Absolutely.
And are the playmakers on these two teams the same playmakers?
For the most part, yeah.
So I would say for a huge amount of the part. Right, I mean, right. the game in February was Patrick Mahomes. It was Jerick McKinnon, who's still on the roster. Travis Kelce. It was Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore. It's all the same playmakers on that side, and the only one that's different for the Eagles is that Dallas Goedert is now hurt. So I would argue that as far as a rematch goes, this is pretty much as close to a Super Bowl rematch as you can get. So I'm all in on saying that it's a Super Bowl rematch.
Well articulated as always, my friend, but there's no Vince Lombardi trophy.
Well, that would just be calling it a Super Bowl. That's why it's a rematch of two teams that they're pretty goddamn similar.
No. This is a Chiefs Eagles rematch. Okay, not a Super Bowl rematch. I'm all the way with Jeff. Okay, if we win this game, you're gonna feel vindication. You're going to feel like we got revenge.
The only feeling I ever have is vindication. That is the only.
Listen, if they lose this game, they're going to walk into their locker rooms like, damn, that sucks. Put on their Super Bowl rings and then leave, okay? They still have that over us. So until we beat them in that setting, then...
I can't handle this right now. I can't.
The banner will still keep flying at Arrowhead Stadium. It still belongs to them. It will still say Super Bowl 57 champions. We won't have a Vince Lombardi trophy. We'll still have the one we had from what was almost 6 years ago now.
Well, here's the thing. It's a rematch of both teams that were in the Super Bowl. Therefore, it's a Super Bowl rematch.
Thank you.
Sorry,
I agree, Jay. I agree. I don't know what these guys are talking about, but hey, that's all right.
That's like saying Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones meet each other again like 30 years later. There's no title on the line. This is a rematch of the last time they fought for the title. That's not the same thing. These two teams played together before. Otherwise, every team that's ever played each other in a Super Bowl is in a rematch every time they see each other.
But it's a rematch. But it's the first. It's the first time they're playing each other after the Super Bowl. So therefore, it's a rematch of the Super Bowl.
Exactly, Brandon. Thank you.
We have seen rematches of the Lakers and the Celtics, but it isn't in the NBA Finals. Otherwise, as Ja clearly pointed out, it would be a finals rematch of the game that was played in whatever year it was played in, or a year ago or whatever. Because now we're fighting for a trophy. There is no trophy on the line.
And I'll take the boxing metaphor slightly.
There will be a game next week after this week is over. There's so many differences.
if two heavyweights
finality to 57, like there were for months we had to sit there and stew on this. I'm still
exactly.
Game.
Exactly.
If the Eagles lose this game, I won't be angry. It's 6 more games to play.
Listen, I'm taking the boxing. I'm going to take the boxing analogy a little bit too, Jeff. I got you. Like he said, 30 years later, it doesn't even have to be that far later. If two heavyweights fought for the title and one guy lost, and then you saw that guy next week at a bar and you beat his brakes off, you're still the loser. You know what I'm saying?
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing.
You lost the title fight. It's the exact same thing.
No, it isn't.
There will be a game next week. After this game is over with, we will play a game next week. What if we get back to the Super Bowl? Do we play Super Bowl twice?
What if I said it wasn't a bar, Brandon? What if I said it wasn't a bar fight? It was a spar, right? You were sparring in the gym, but it's not. It's still not the same. It's not a title fight.
Yeah, but I feel like you guys are being like, oh, it's not literally a Super Bowl rematch, but it is a rematch of the Super Bowl. So therefore, it is a Super Bowl rematch.
It's a rematch of the two teams in the Super Bowl. That's what we're saying.
But
it is not
their first time meeting since the Super Bowl.
So it's a Super Bowl rematch.
It's not like they're playing like the Patriots. That's not a Super Bowl rematch because that was years ago. But they haven't seen each other since the Super Bowl, which makes it a rematch. Because they have not played each other since the Super Bowl,
and I have an argument on top of that. So after the Eagles beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 52, the next time the Eagles played the Patriots was in 2019, and at that point the team is completely different. It was no longer Nick Foles and everybody; it was a completely different team. That is not a Super Bowl rematch. No. That is a rematch of two teams that played in a Super Bowl 2 years prior.
Exactly.
This is largely the same teams.
What are you talking about?
You're exactly right. Largely the same teams with totally different stakes. The stakes are not the same, which disqualifies this from being a Super Bowl rematch.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody's saying we're going to the Super Bowl, but it's still a rematch of the Super Bowl because they just went like 3 days ago, basically. Like, come on, y'all.
Now,
it's like John said, if you watch a UFC fight, the title's on the line, and then this guy saying, "Hey, you beat me when the stakes were high." Like,
this game, hold on.
It doesn't count.
That's a completely different thing, though.
It's the exact same thing.
It isn't though. This game is in the same year as the Super Bowl was.
Don't do that.
Same year.
Chris,
exactly.
Don't you do that.
How is it not a rematch? They played only a few months ago.
Literally.
No, it is a rematch. Literally. It's not a Super Bowl rematch. It's just a rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs. You can't call it a Super Bowl rematch.
I'm not backing down off of this.
I'm not either. They're the teams that went to the Super Bowl, which makes it a Super Bowl rematch.
We got to move on, man. I guess nobody's backing down. Like John on the same side, you guys on the same side.
Hey, it's 3-2. Therefore, our side wins. That's how this thing works.
Wait, hold on. I like to disqualify Jake because for as long as we have been doing this podcast, every time he starts, he never knows what day it is.
Okay. What does that have to do with anything?
Every single time he says, "Thanks for joining us." What day is it?
That's not even.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
It's not even a stray.
Just a little bit.
I'm not even catching a stray. That's a drone strike. What the hell?
All right.
Why? God damn it! Why me? All right.
Because I was cracking up when you did it. I was like, I have to figure out. I'm just going to figure out a way to bring it up because it is hilarious that you never know what day it is.
Well, that's me. All right. I have nothing going on. This is awful. I did not expect. I know. I'm. God damn it. Anyway, let's move forward. I'm a noted Patrick Mahomes disbeliever. Maybe is the best way to say it. So
there too. That there. You're
well, let's just wait. Let's just wait. Let's see if I can give you a little bit of mind medicine right here. I've made a presentation. Okay.
I love mind medicine, by the way.
I gotta see this. We got a presentation.
So share screen.
Share screen. We're sharing the screen.
All right. How does that look? Okay.
What? Come on, man.
You are so wrong for that.
Who is that guy?
Who is this?
Where is the police? Lock him up. That is not right.
That's Patrick Mahomes.
That's wrong on so many levels.
All right. So this presentation is called Patrick Mahomes by Jake. Is he a system quarterback if you take away everything that makes him special? And I'm going to convince you that he is indeed a system quarterback. Let's use some cherry pick stats to find out. Patrick Levon Mahomes II. He has weak bones. That is his government name.
4th down and 1. Now Mahomes, and that makes him 9 for 10 in that category.
Uh-oh, Patrick.
On 3rd and 4th and 1, picking up a first down. One of the most dynamic athletes in all of sports is injured on this 4th and 1 carry, and it was the right knee.
I love how Joe Buck is talking about how awesome he is.
In a lot of pain.
I wanted to mute it.
And it's like they almost popped that right knee back in place. And he's actually walking now without any assistance.
So, with that, I would like to say my quarterback would never. My quarterback would never. Has Patrick Mahomes done a QB sneak since then? No, he certainly has not, because his bones are, as the slide states, weak. He has weak bones.
If this was it, this is the greatest presentation I've ever seen. Like, you really did a good job of this.
I got a lot more, baby.
You put a lot of time to this.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
You have to do. So, as you can see from this, Patrick Mahomes, his foot's not very good. Is that on January 17th of 2021, turf toe. December 4th, 2022, foot bruise. Got an ankle sprain. Got an ankle sprain. His brain got scrambled a few times. His knee got dislocated. College, he had the wrist fracture. Ooh, Patrick, drink more milk, friend. Anyway, so that's his injury history. Is inaccurate. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes and accuracy.
Who is the dude you got in the picture, man?
Who is this man?
Whose face did you superimpose on the Patrick Mahomes' body? Like, who is this dude?
Well, if you just Google Patrick Mahomes, there's a lot of pictures.
You use AI? Did you use AI to do that?
No, somebody did this before me. So
I have so many things to say.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So his on-target percentage, his bad throw percentage, what could those be? Oh, 63.3% on-target percentage? That's not very good, Patrick. Bad throw percentage, 16.6%? Oh, Patrick, that's not very good. Now, if you say compared that to somebody who is a quarterback, I don't know, spitballing here. Let's do a guy that's on top of mine, Jalen Hurts. His bad throw percentage is only 15%. His on-target percentage is 76.9%. Wow. Wow. Patrick Mahomes, quite inaccurate, buddy. Quite inaccurate. That's kind of wild that you're goated. Best football player in the world is what they say. Can't hit a broadside of a barn, but whatever. Who's counting? Me, specifically me. Interceptions. Every single one is funnier than the one before it.
Hitting dad's pitches out into that set before the World Series game. So the guy's been around big moments in New York before. Gonna love this one.
Oh, bless your heart, Patrick. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. That was tough, man. Did you see that? That was a bad interception. He couldn't get more humiliating than that. Huh? How about this guy who I'm a big fan that he's the guy who made this video is very clearly a NFL stage guy, and I'm a big fan of that.
Mahomes pressured, looking.
We called him an actor.
Out, gets it away, and then just flings it, and it's picked off at the goal line.
No.
Justin Simmons.
Oh, no. That Patrick Mahomes. Remember when Mac Jones just did that, and he threw an interception in the red zone right in front of the right in front of the end zone, and we all burned him for it? Oh, man, Patrick, you don't want to be like Mac Jones, but you did it before him, and you didn't get flamed for it because you're Patrick Mahomes.
That's true. That's
every single one is funnier than the one before.
Very good reason for him to not get flamed for it, by the way.
Well, except he's very like him. And I think maybe, Jake, do you have some proof that Patrick Mahomes is a lot like Mac Jones?
Before you go, Jake, I have to reiterate, this is the greatest presentation I've ever seen. I agree with you.
I appreciate that. Next gen stats. Maybe you want some smarter people and maybe some computers. Maybe you're a big stats guy and you want to use the next gen stats in order to make sure that your point gets across. Here's something that's important. Completed air yards and average intended air yards. Those are two very real things. And I'll read this for you. Air yards is the vertical yards on a pass attempt at the moment the ball is caught in relation to the line of scrimmage. This is essentially the average depth of target for a quarterback. Is what this is. The completed air yards shows the average air yards a passer throws on completions. Obviously, intended air yards is just the ones that they aim for. The metric shows how far the ball is being thrown downfield. Air yards is recorded as a negative value when the pass is behind the line of scrimmage. One thing that's actually interesting to me that doesn't pertain specifically to this presentation, but that last line there, additionally, air yards is calculated into the back of the end zone to better evaluate the true depth of the pass. I like that. I like that Next Gen Stats does that. So, like, if you're on the 1 yard line, you throw a touchdown 9 yards into the end zone, it counts as a 9 yard pass for these stats rather than just a 1 yard touchdown. That's a totally side note, and I thought that was interesting. Anyway, Patrick Mahomes, his intended air yards, 6.8. Completed air yards, 4.3. That's not very good, Patrick. That's not very good.
Oh, we are missing so much context with this, but hey, great.
I cherry picked the stats, Brandon. I cherry picked
He admitted to it at the beginning. He admitted to that.
He did.
Oh my gosh.
Now they have another statistic called the differential. The differential.
I thought Brandon's screen was frozen. He hasn't moved for 5 minutes.
The differential obviously is the intended air yards minus, or no, it's the completed air yards minus the intended air yards. What is Patrick Mahomes' air yard differential? Minus 2.5. That's not very good, man. That's not minus 2.5. Patrick Mahomes is so good. There can't be a lot of other quarterbacks have to be doing much worse than him, right? Quarterbacks have to be doing much. Minus 2.5 must be really good because Patrick Mahomes is so good. Well, I got some bad news for you. You want to compare him to players. You're comparing him to, I don't know, Tyson Bagent, maybe Daniel Jones. Is that Mac Jones right there next to him? Oh no. Oh no, Mac Jones is right next to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my god.
That's not good, Patrick Mahomes. Aiden O'Connell, Bryce Young, all these guys stink, but Patrick Mahomes doesn't stink, right? Oh man, that's crazy. How does this happen? Anyway, also, his brother's a pervert, allegedly.
True.
Now let's look at some of his stats from this year. 7.3 yards per passing attempt, 10.7 yards per completion, 96.7 QB rating. Wow, those are all pretty good because he's really good. Oh, shoot. He's ranked 12th, 18th, and 12th in those. Oh, man, that's pretty middle of the road there, Patrick Mahomes. Not very good. I'm starting to get swayed by this Jake Beckman's presentation. He's pretty good at it. He's got a dumb haircut. I don't know what that is. He's got a dumb mustache. You should just shave it. Patrick Mahomes, certified system QB. And he's a cheater, probably. These are pictures of being in incredible amounts of pain during the Super Bowl right before halftime. And what did he do when he came out? He didn't miss a drive. He scored all of his drives. How can a man go through that much pain and come out? I would probably assume that's because he took an illegal amount of painkillers in the locker room. But that's just me. We're still working on that theory. Thank you for watching.
Oh my god. Amazing.
Now that middle one's not Patrick Mahomes. That's just a guy. Thank you.
That was the best thing I've ever seen. I'm not even gonna lie.
You're welcome. Glad I was here for this.
I have.
Jacob, you only use your powers for good.
Oh, I won't.
Not what do you call it? Number one, awesome presentation.
Thank you very much.
Number two, I'm very interested to see how you cherry pick those stats because, yeah, and number three, there is a lot of context missing from a lot of things. Not the Jackson Mahomes one. That guy's an asshole. But the Patrick Mahomes stuff.
Yep.
The Patrick Mahomes stuff. A lot of context missing that we could spend all night going over. But this is an Eagles podcast, so we're not going to.
Remember, you don't need context when you cherry pick stats. You're good. Don't worry about that.
Remember how he did threw that one pass while he was like diving sideways, and then the wide receiver dropped it, man. But it's cool. They put it in Madden. Man, if that wide receiver was good, he probably would have caught that. Who was the wide receiver? Oh, that was Tyreek Hill. Okay, just making sure.
So now Tyreek Hill is bad, or is that?
Well, that's more going into my next presentation. AJ Brown should be Offensive Player of the Year, but
louder for the people in the back. Yeah,
can't wait for that one.
Yeah,
you're welcome. So, questions. I
for the
don't
first
want
time
to
in my life, I'm speechless. I don't know where to go with it. To be honest with you.
So
let's just end it now.
That was
There's
the-
nowhere else to go.
That was the greatest presentation I think I've ever seen, Jake. Like, I actually have presentations to do. They've never been that good. I might have you to mine.
Oh. Yeah. Please, you're gonna make me blush. It's just a man filled with vitriol, and he decided to put it on a Google slide sheet. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I do what I can.
Period.
So
all right,
before you did it, I remember you saying, I think it may have been before we started the show, but you said if you could sway the opinion of one person, then you've done your job.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to let you know that one person is not me.
Oh, don't honeypot me like that.
I'm not convinced, but it was a stellar presentation. I agree with everyone.
I mean, the next gen stats chart, all those quarterbacks that are right next to Patrick Mahomes.
That was top tier,
brother.
That was the best part, honestly.
That's some good company he's with. Okay, so
Wow.
do we want to talk about this game that we got coming up on Monday?
Let's.
Okay. What side of the let's start with defense, because we could probably make that relatively quick. I know a lot of like I've seen a bunch on Twitter, and I feel like people like comment on these shows like, what about the defense? What do you do to fix the defense? Brother, that's above my pay grade, number one. And number two, defense in 2023 is much less important than offense in 2023. If you want to fix the defense, learn to run the ball better. So that's But let's talk about.
I actually disagree with that.
Really?
I disagree with that because of this year in particular, and the low scoring that's kind of going on throughout the league. I think it's kind of showing us that defense is still important. It took them a while to catch up, right? But it always happens. The offenses find ways to be extremely explosive until defenses find a way to kind of calm it down at least a little bit. If you're not one of those top tier guys, you're not about to be out here just going crazy every week. At least that's what it's been so far this year.
So what my counterpoint to that, and I blame Jonathan Gannon for this, because he was kind of the one who saw real success doing that cover 2 shell that made the NFL much less exciting, and all of the deep shots like went away after this, is that he was like successful with that. And his whole thing was like, yeah, but there's no explosive plays. There's no explosive plays. And then that's kind of what defensive coordinators have gone on now. So I kind of blame that for the lack of scoring. And the problem with Jonathan Gannon's cover 2 shell, and we saw it, is that good quarterbacks just chew it up and spit it out. Like, yeah, if it's a Sam Howell, when I guess that's not necessarily the case, because he didn't. But who was a bad quarterback that the Eagles played that just got impatient? Like even Jared Goff kind of did it. Who are some bad quarterbacks that the Eagles played last year? Carson Wentz. He kind of just got.
I was gonna go there. Like
he was a little bit different because he just got sacked into oblivion. Oh, but Daniel Jones is a good one. He's not patient enough to just chew up the short field. So he's going to try to take those long shots, and also it's just a bad offense to begin with. But when it comes to good quarterbacks, like Aaron Rodgers did it, and a guy who's a good system quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, did it in the Super Bowl. Like these guys are patient enough to be like, you know what? If they're just going to give me this short stuff, then I'm going to take it. So
yeah, it's not just the cover 2 shell this year,
Well, yeah, there's been variations on it.
I think the Seahawks were the ones too who like really made that cover 2, as special as it was. But everybody this year is doing. We talked about this a week or so ago. It's that simulated pressure, man, that everybody's doing. So there's so many defenses this year using that simulated pressure look, bringing those linebackers up into the A gap, and who's coming and who's not, doing it so often. That's really messing with offenses. So until that gets figured out, we'll see.
Well, this could be a good pivot point for us. The Eagles have been doing the simulated pressures and things like that. That's not going to work against Patrick Mahomes, is it? That's not going to work against the Patrick Mahomes Andy Reid defense, is it?
I think when it comes to the Eagles defense, it's like two parts, because overall as a unit, they probably haven't been as good as you expect them to be.
Correct.
But that front seven has been as good as while you have a front seven that's able to dominate games at times, but you have a secondary that has a lot of holes in it when you would expect it to not have a lot of holes in it. So you're asking a lot from your defensive front to cover up some of those issues on the back end and to not allow things to happen. And Kansas City presents a very interesting matchup because on one hand, yes, you're playing one of the best quarterbacks in my eyes in football, in Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is cerebral. He's very good at getting the ball out. He's able to take those deep shots. But here's the problem. The Kansas City skill weapons might be one of the worst units in all of the league. Outside of Travis Kelce, there's not a guy that can consistently separate, that can consistently make plays. Rashid Rice has probably been the closest thing they've had to that type of guy. But
who's their slot?
Right. But Kadarius Toney hasn't really done much of anything. Justin Ross is on the exempt list. MVS is a role player. Justin Watson, like Sky Moore, you roll down this list, there's not that difference maker. So, interestingly enough, this might not be the game where the Eagles get exposed on the back end. Now, you never know what Andy Reid's play calling and what he schemes up and having guys run down the field open and all that, but that's all in game plan. When it comes to just, players against players, the Chiefs have a really good offensive line. I personally think the Eagles' defensive line is better. And even with their struggles, I would give the edge to the Eagles secondary, which means they might be able to slow down Kansas City. But you have the ultimate nullifier with Patrick Mahomes that could just take advantage of the open space down the field. So it all comes down to what you value and what you truly think is going to be the difference maker, because the Eagles could control the game, or Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs could control the game on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem there is that, yes, the Eagles, their corners they've been James Bradbury's been having a down year, but still he's good. Darius Slay's been having a great year. It's just that Travis Kelce is good enough to make up for how bad the rest of their receiving core is against this defense specifically.
Right.
If he can get going, buddy, it's going to be a long Monday.
So, yeah, go ahead, Jeff. You've been.
No, go ahead.
The defense, right? Just a small tick about that. I've told y'all how I feel before about everyone killing our defense in the secondary, despite the fact that when it comes to the actual number of points that we're giving up game to game, it's not extreme by any stretch of the imagination. And I wanted to look up a little deeper into that stat. And as far as possessions that end in a touchdown, right? They track that as well for the defense. Possessions that end in a touchdown that they give up. 11th in the league. So right out of the top, 35% is what the number is. 35% of opponents' drives end up with a score. That's 11th in the league. 1 out of the top 10. So despite the troubles in the secondary, we're not giving up a ton of points. And when we're talking about Patrick Mahomes in this Kansas City offense, who, like Brandon said, has been struggling this year to put points up. They're averaging maybe like 14, somewhere between 11 and 14 points a game on offense. Like, that's really bad for a Patrick Mahomes team, but the facts are the facts. The stats aren't lying, So I think that the team should be able to hold them down, just like they've been able to hold down most people when it comes to scoring.
I think the thing about this game coming up is everything is like, it's not the Kansas City Chiefs offense is going to beat you anymore. Like, Travis Kelce is so good, we just got to realize he's Jordan. He's going to get his, and maybe we can just limit everybody else. But it's not the Chiefs offense is going to beat you now. It's the defense now. They got like 2 outside corners who are really good. I think I said this earlier in the week, but I think I was just saying it more out of hope than anything else that I have that was tangible. But I was saying that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith should have the game against them. I don't know about that. Those guys are good. George Karlaftis is coming on. Chris Jones is Chris Jones. Steve Spagnuolo, ex-Eagle, has done a great job with that defense and everything. So I think that the Eagles should be able to still outscore this team. And I'm going to say O.J. Simpson, the team, this will come down to the team that scores the most points. Brady, as that sounds. But
no, perfect.
With everything that's happened, though, I think I'm pretty satisfied with what I've seen from our defense based on everything that's happened. Avonte Maddox was supposed to be the starting slot corner. He was injured in week 2. Zach McPherson was supposed to be his backup. He was injured before the season started. James Bradbury has missed a game. Sidney Brown has missed a couple games. Who am I missing? Justin Evans is on reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Darius Slay is decent, but he's not as great as he was last year. James Bradbury is having an off year to this point in the season. They made mistakes. They sat here and said, okay, we don't need Nicholas Morrow on this team and Josiah Scott. And they went back and got Nicholas Morrow and Josiah Scott back. So they said, we made a mistake. We shouldn't put these guys. So Keely Ringo is not ready. He's probably a year away, but an excellent contributor on special teams. We haven't gotten what we want out of Nolan Smith yet, but excellent contributor on special teams. Hassan Reddick dealt with the hand injury early. He shed the cast. Now he's back to being Hassan Reddick again. Fletcher Cox is old. Jalen Carter is good, but Jalen Carter had an injury. So it's a lot going on, and we've had to juggle so many parts. And that's common in the NFL. That's not an excuse. But to Josh's credit, when you look at the numbers look decent. But I think 13 teams have given up fewer yards per game. 13 teams have given up fewer points. And I think that's a testament to the job that Sean Desai's doing. Like, I look when they needed to be great, they've come up big in huge spots and everything. And I guess with the modern day NFL, that's just kind of what you hope for.
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts here. First thought is I think, and this is Jake Beckman dumb thought. Sean Desai could you don't have to nod like that, Brandon. It could be a Sean Desai play, like, has a better game plan against good teams. Like, you look, I mean, he's the Dolphins team is the Dolphins and the Rams are probably and I guess Cowboys kind of throws that thought out the window a little bit, but he's come up with better defensive schemes against good teams than he has for some of these bad teams, like Patriots and Jets and Commanders twice. So I think
it's just weird ways the schedule fall too. The Jets are just good on defense; they just can't score. Like the Jets throttled us. We couldn't run the ball.
Yeah,
Bill Belichick's a genius. He had a nice game plan. His tight end went off.
Right, that's what's scary.
Yeah. The Dolphins just aren't as good as we say they are. We just got wrapped up in 70 points for a while and everything.
Right.
They don't actually
beat
wrapped
up in that. I'm still
also have this, but you just have this situation where it's just like it's just the way the NFL's played these days. It's like this team is so good that they can beat anybody, and they're so good that I believe that they can win a Super Bowl. I believe this team can actually be better than the team we saw last year if it all gels. But they're so inconsistent, they can win a Super Bowl. We could still be talking about how this team still hadn't played its best game yet.
Yeah.
I really think it comes down to two things. The Eagles are going to win this game on offense if they're going to win it, and they're going to lose this game on defense if they lose it. Which basically means if they win this game, right, it's going to be because the Eagles offense is able to overcome a very good Kansas City Chiefs defensive unit. It means that they're able to score enough points. It means that the run game works well enough, or Jalen Hurts has a really good game. But if they lose this game, in my eyes, it's the defense doesn't step up to the table. Maybe their front seven is neutralized a bit more than you would expect, and all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes is able to dissect a weaker Eagle secondary than what they've been used to in the past few years. He's able to hit a lot of cover 2 hole shots and be able to find those little spots in between the Eagles defense that they want to run, where the Eagles are constantly playing from behind and they basically have to be perfect on offense to win that game. So I think that's really what it comes down to.
Now, to your point, real quick, Jake, about their corners, or Jeff, their pass defense is ranked, top 2 in the league. Mm-hmm. Their run defense is ranked 15th.
Right.
So that's what I want to see too, right? Run the ball on them. As far as the other side of the ball, their their offensive tackles have just been okay. So I'm actually hoping that we can take advantage of that. But we need to get Pat on the ground because we know he's like the best at dancing in the pocket. Watching him in the pocket evade tackles the way that he moves makes me laugh out loud, like in my living room. Because it's so weird and funky looking. He's not quick twitch, or just crazy elusiveness. He's just calculated with his movements, and it's just he moves slow as hell to me when I'm watching him, and like nobody can tackle him, and he gets free of 2 or 3 rushers and runs for a first down. I don't want to see that, like get him to the damn ground.
Yeah,
okay, so this guy over here, Patrick Mahomes sucks. We're not going to have to worry about him.
No. He's good in his system.
Yep, true. I wasn't laughing at you, Jaleel, because what you said was excellent as always. I'm laughing because we're still saying if we run the ball, because we know we don't want to do that. It's just like we can run the ball. I think this team can run the ball to anybody. I'm not worried about what we talked about this drop off or whatever. I think it's just a testament to Jalen Hurts becoming a better passer. We want to win by throwing the football. That's why we went out and got AJ Brown. That's why we drafted Devontae Smith. That's why we've invested all this in this line to make sure that Jalen Hurts is a better passer. Like we just want to win. They just don't want to run the ball, and some of that could be concern. Like I still don't know what's going on with Rashad Penny. Sometimes I feel like they just saving him for the playoffs. DeAndre Swift, they don't want to kill him. Kenneth Gainwell,
they do want to kill him.
Yeah, they do want to kill him.
Now, but before we get into the running thing, the 2 other thoughts that I had. Number one was the one thing that we wanted to see in the Super Bowl was James Bradbury on Travis Kelce, and that just never happened. I think with the huge delta between skill level between Travis Kelce as a pass catcher and every other pass catcher, like we talked about, I think this is a great time to try that out. And as Sean Desai just throws whatever he can and changes up whatever he can, pretty much on a whim. Do you think that? Here's the question: do you think that there's going to be a majority of the time having James Bradbury on Travis Kelce, or do you think that's going over under 50% of the time James Bradbury on Travis Kelce?
Under. I think they're going to try to use Kevin Byard. This is the Kevin Byard game that we've been working on.
That's exactly why he's here.
This is why he's here.
I personally think that early on in the game, if they were to try that, it will be like experimental, where maybe you try Byard a few snaps, you try Bradbury, see what works. Yeah, see what works early on in the game. Whatever works, you stick with it. Whatever doesn't work, you scrap it and move on.
Yeah.
But I like your point about Sean Desai, because I actually meant to say something about that a little while ago when y'all were talking about him. But that's one of the things that I love the most about him is his willingness to adjust quickly. He's shown that time and time again already, and it's like obvious. It's in your face. You can see those changes. We talked about the Rams and how they were going off in the first half, and then we shut that down completely in the second half. And you're talking about the Cowboys and how that game may have, meant something different from the point you were trying to make initially, but they only scored 6 points in the second half to their 17 in the first. So,
right.
Does it really?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, and that's like you said, man. If something's not working, F it. Throw in a 5-man front. That's not working. F it. Throw in 3 safeties. Yeah, no, the guy is very willing to change whatever he wants to change.
Yo, vanity question: am my headphones sideways?
They're good.
I feel like this is just like wrong sometimes.
I think your hat on the left on this side of your head might be a little bit lower if that's doing.
I mean, the picture looks wrong. Everything looks wrong here today.
The other point that I was, and I heard somebody say this. It's not an original thought by me, but there could be a good chance that the Nolan Smith is a Nakobe Dean from last year.
Yeah,
where like he's like the people that he's playing behind are really good, aside from Derek Barnett, who's might be a healthy scratch, fingers crossed. And like Nakobe Dean was behind Kaiser White and TJ Edwards, who are playing out of their mind. The people that Nakobe Dean is playing behind are playing really well. I think that his snaps will go up in the second half of the season, But like going into the offseason, I was like, or into the bye week, I was like, man, we have not seen a whole lot of him. He's getting his reputation absolutely saved by how great Jalen Carter is playing. But that was just. Do you guys think there's any merit to that? Sounds like yes.
Yeah, I think Nolan Smith is it's kind of like a redshirt year for him. Like they really don't need him, quote unquote. Yeah. But he's been great on special teams again.
Well, kind of.
His numbers are actually, I don't have them in front of me. Brandon probably knows about the top of his head, but his numbers are like comparable to Derek Barnett's with fewer snaps.
Ugh. Don't say that.
If you look at it, like they're actually kind of comparable in some ways. But
Jake, that's a good thing.
I've been predicting this to be like an Eagles loss forever and everything. I've changed my mind totally. This just popped in my head. Jalen Hurts blames himself for losing this Super Bowl.
Right. And
coming into the Super Bowl rematch, I think you get a more focused Jalen Hurts. James Bradbury is ticked off. James Bradbury is not going to say this, but James Bradbury believes that he lost us the Super Bowl.
He's going to be. Did.
I think he's
no. Trust
because
me.
He did.
No, he did not.
No, he didn't. It was more than just him, but it was his friends and himself who helped. They all worked together. They all worked together.
It was a thing. I don't care what anybody says. They didn't have to call that damn defensive holding. Guys do stuff like that all the time, and you don't call it. There's other things that happen in the game that you don't call. When you decide when you're going to call what ticky-tack thing is something that will always confuse me, but whatever, man.
It was stupid, man. It was dumb. Like, like earlier in the week and everything. We was trying to get one of you guys on with me and everything, but he had to come on like 6 o'clock in the morning. I didn't want to wake you guys up, which would have been like 5 a.m. Jake's time.
So to Jeff's earlier point, or whoever made it about Nolan Smith and Derek Barnett. Mm-hmm. Smith on the year in 32 pass rush opportunities, has 2 total pressures, a sack, a quarterback hit, and 3 total tackles. Derek Barnett and this according to PFF, in 55 pass rush attempts, has 0 total pressures, 0 total sacks, 0 total quarterback hits, and 3 tackles on the year.
Yeah.
So he's out there getting cardio.
Yeah.
Well, basically.
Well, I mean, is a defensive lineman out there just getting cardio? I feel like that would be something else. I don't know.
HIIT workout.
At this point, I seriously wonder if Derek Barnett has something on like Howie Roseman or somebody. He has something on the coach. Like
he was just a healthy scratch against Dallas.
Somebody's kidnapped in somebody's basement. He has somebody's family. Like something weird is going on. This has nothing to do with football. There's no other explanation for why Derek Barnett is still on his team. There's no other explanation for why Derek Barnett is still playing. Like I'm done with the whole he was a first round draft pick and everything. We're well past his rookie contract now. Derek Barnett knows something that he wants to tell us, and we're trying to.
No, no, because if Derek Barnett is such a loose cannon, he is the loose lips that sink the ship. That guy, he couldn't keep a secret to himself to save nothing. And again, he's not playing though. He was just a healthy scratch against Dallas, so we're moving in the right direction there.
He won't be on the team next year, I'm sure.
He's like third on the depth chart at defensive end, like behind Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham. Like he's third on the depth chart. He's still getting all these snaps. Like I don't understand it.
It makes no sense, to be honest.
Hey, where'd you get that beanie from?
Merch, man. Fansided.com. Like I got beanies. I just never wear them. I got beanies. I got gloves. I got sweatshirts. Yeah, we're stocked. I got a box somewhere.
This guy's got sweatshirts.
I'm a walking billboard.
All right, so let's talk this offense. So coming out of the bye week, the big thing was Jalen Hurts' health. We said going into the bye week, whatever Jalen Hurts' health is coming out of the bye week is going to be the healthiest that he is for the rest of the season. And by all accounts, he seems in high spirits. He's not wearing the sleeve on his knee anymore. He's not wearing a brace or anything like that. I say it's only been like 1 practice or 2 practices since then, but he doesn't have that stuff on his leg anymore. And I fall into the camp that the reason the run game has stopped working over the past 5 weeks or something like that is because Jalen Hurts is no longer a threat to the defense as a runner. So if he is feeling healthy, I think that this run game could potentially win this game, specifically this game.
Even if Jalen Hurts is healthy, I don't know if I would have run it anymore. Like haven't we beaten him up enough? Like We destroyed his shoulder last year. We tried to tear his ankle up the year before that. Now, this is the earliest in the season we've ever seen Jalen Hurts like injured. Like, I think we kind of need to save QB1 a little bit here.
Yeah, but those were like soft tissue things. This was a bone bruise. A bone bruise it sucks. They suck, and I've never had one in my knee. But I'm not saying they don't. But that's significantly different than the what was that? He was a SC joint last year, wasn't he?
The SC joint, yeah, it was
right in the middle.
I'm sorry, Brandon. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if the Eagles want to bring that back into the playbook, it's got to be like a happy medium where I'd say maybe like only 3 times a game you call those designed quote unquote runs, and otherwise you just let Hurts take off when he needs to, because like the quarterback draws and the quarterback sweeps, like with a guy that just recovered from his knee injury, I wouldn't put that out there again, or I wouldn't even call that play to run the risk of him re-injuring his knee, which, hey, if you re-injure a knee injury you just healed, it might be even worse than what it was before. And we all know what the Eagles' backup quarterback situation is.
Don't say it.
Oh
exactly.
My God.
We're not going to name the backup, but the reality is
Tanner McKee.
Yes, exactly.
Actually,
but if Hurts goes down, your season is borderline over, or if it's not over, your ceiling just comes caving in. So
we're screwed. We're screwed. It's over.
Right.
It's over.
You need to preserve Hurts for when the games are most important down the stretch in the playoffs, trying to make that run back to the Super Bowl. So I think if the Eagles are smart about it, they start to build that up back later in the season, where you start to sprinkle that back into when you get in the playoffs. Okay, yeah, now that Jalen Hurts runs when he's fully healthy and has his feet back under him, now they're back in the playbook. Now we're able to utilize our entire run game and have Jalen Hurts throw to A.J. Brown 20 times a game. So now then you have that full offense able to be deployed, and then the Eagles are working at full capacity. If you start running him back into the ground week 11, week 12, week 13, by the time you get to week 16, week 17 crunch time, that's not going to be enough time for him to get his bearings back, and you're putting your team at a disadvantage.
So
real quick, Jake, because I wanted to. I think part of the issue with the run game is actually a multiple problem thing. I don't think it's just about Jalen Hurts and his struggle to run. I think that defenses have also decided that they're going to try to take the run away. And we played teams that had stronger front lines. We played Washington twice. We played Dallas. We played the Jets. So we were been playing teams that also have strong front sevens, and probably also felt that incorrectly, by the way, obviously, that if we can try to make Jalen beat us from the pocket, then we have a better chance than letting them get the run game going and then having the complete arsenal at their disposal. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more about those defenses, the matchups, also us not running the ball consistently enough. Like too much, we just, we're dropping back to pass. Like Jeff said, we want to be a passing team. We want to throw it to Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Alameda. We got Julio now. Let's get him some looks. We need to run the ball a little bit more.
We got Julio's on the team.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just want a little bit more commitment to the run sometimes, because everybody here has been watched football long enough to know that sometimes you're going to run into a wall a couple of times before you break through. And sometimes I feel like they abandon the run before the breakthrough happens, but it will if you just stick with it.
So I think, I think those are all good points. What a thing that's going to hurt and a thing that's going to help. Dallas Goedert, tremendous run blocker. That's what makes him one of the best tight ends in the league. Lose him. Jack Stoll, I'm not entirely sure what the delta is between Jack Stoll's run blocking and Dallas Goedert's run blocking. I'm sure it's big, but I don't think it's as big as I'm like kind of picturing it. I feel like Jack Stoll could be a good run blocker, but we also get Cam Jurgens back. So when I think it was Brandon was it Brandon or Josh saying it's not a one problem thing, that it was definitely multifaceted. But also, maybe I said it wrong. I wasn't saying just like put the brunt of the running offense on Jalen Hurts. I'm thinking you just got to make him a threat.
Right.
You got to make them respect the fact that he can pull that ball. Make it be an RPO rather than a PRO. Like you gotta like, if that is what happens, then DeAndre Swift can start breaking off those Minnesota type runs. And I don't know if anybody knows this off the top of your head. You mentioned Commanders front, Jai. You mentioned Commanders front line. You mentioned Jets. Is Aaron Donald in Cowboys? Is Aaron Donald the only person that anybody knows on the Rams front line? Is he the only reason that their front seven is daunted?
I mean, Byron Young's been playing pretty good, but
okay,
like,
but
like from the offseason, the majority of the Rams team is like rookies or second year
Yeah.
guys. They completely flipped over that entire roster, so a lot of that is Aaron Donald's work. Yeah,
okay.
They really had no choice when they went all in for that Super Bowl. They kind of put them in a situation to where it's coming to fruition now. They have to pay.
Donald is the only person out of like about 3 people I know on the Rams roster.
Yeah, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Stafford.
I mean, Darren Kendrick's there. He's from South Carolina. He got kicked out of Clemson, went to Georgia, and won a national title. He can't play.
You got a couple of people.
Yeah, but yeah. So I that was.
I gotta say that. Okay, I've been playing around with the sound. Is there an echo? Can you hear me?
No, you're good.
The headphones. I was tired of the headphones, man. Like, I should probably have my glasses on too. Like, I can't see anybody. I can see your faces. I can't read your names, but
hey, that's all right.
We're gonna rock with it.
All right,
so
let's get into unless does anybody have anything else on offense? Somebody mentioned that it might not be a Devontae Smith or AJ Brown game. I mean, they're both really.
I just want to say that I think that is garbage that they're also coming off of a bye at the same time. We don't have the advantage there at all. Like Andy Reid off a bye. Thanks for that. But Spags as well, getting that extra time to prepare. I was feeling like maybe we could have a kind of a coming out party for Brian Johnson. A lot of things have gotten better, gotten on track, the red zone stuff, this and that. So I was hoping that maybe this game, everything could come together, but it's probably just going to be another dogfight. So,
yet another similarity between this game and the Super Bowl. Both teams coming off a bye.
So Cam Jurgens has not been elevated back to the roster, right? He's still on injury reserve.
Cam Jurgens, he might. They might be waiting. Does he have to wait till Sunday?
They might say this tomorrow, I guess, because Cam Jurgens is actually technically they got a 21-day practice window, which actually ends on the 22nd. Like, so they got like 5 days to go do it. If he's not activated for this game, he's probably going to be on the injury reserve for the rest of the season.
But it sounds like from what I've seen and from what I've heard, it sounds like he's full go. The other thing about the injured reserve though is that Dallas Goedert not on the injured reserve yet.
He's not on the injured reserve.
So the thing is, the injured reserve is 4 games, not 4 weeks. So if he went on the injured reserve before the bye week, he would have to wait 5 weeks to play, which would be the Seattle game.
And he might be back before then.
This might be that he could be back for the Dallas game.
He better
Justin Evans is on injured reserve, so he looks like he's good. So we got Dallas Goedert, didn't participate. Justin Evans, limited.
What did y'all think about that tackle, by the way?
Which tackle?
You can't.
The one that injured Goddard.
My issue.
It was a little dirty. It was a little dirty.
Here's the problem, right? The NFL basically not incentivized. They start penalizing for going up top and trying to prevent concussions, right? Which I think everyone agrees is the right move. Right. A byproduct of teaching not to go high is that you have more lower body injuries now. So you're not having as much, concussions, but you're having more of the ankle, knee, Achilles, all these types of injuries where that's being taught because of the emphasis on we want to tackle the right way, start tackling low, stop going so high. And look, there's going to be dirty tackles, but defenders, in my eyes, are in a tough spot as is. I mean, look at the Mark Andrews tackle from last night, right? these are guys just trying to make plays on defense, and some of them may be interpreted as dirty, but a lot of times it's guys trying to make a play when so many of them are used to going up high for most of their careers that they have to change, and it's just instinct.
Right, yeah. But at the same time, we can't let everybody off the hook.
No, of course not.
Right?
Of
because
course not.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and the position that the league has put defenders in. I'm glad that you brought up the Mark Andrews thing. People are saying that they need to get rid of the hip drop tackle. It's just a tackle. It's just that you can give anything a name and make it sound like this big bad thing, but it's just a damn tackle. He wrapped him up and he dropped his weight to pull him down. The guy Mark Andrews is a bigger guy. You have to do something like that when you're coming up behind him to try to tackle him. Otherwise, he's just going to drag you. Like
on the regular highlight.
Exactly. See, the difference between with the Dallas Goedert thing, at least when I looked at it a couple times, it looked like the guy grabbed his arm because he's trying to stop getting stiff-armed, almost kind of jumped and then dropped his weight. And that's what brought Dallas down like that. And to me, that's why that one's different. It was a little dirty. The Mark Andrews ones was just a regular tackle to me.
Yeah, the Mark Andrews one, it looked like a regular tackle to me at first, but then it was Logan Wilson that took out every single person on the on the Ravens, and it's like, well, wait a minute.
He actually did. Yeah,
I think I'm leaning towards. There's a part of me where, yeah, you think that, but I think that's just a really, really bad coincidence that he happened to be the guy to injure 3 separate players.
Jake Beckman thinks he's the hitman on the team.
I mean, it feels that way. Like 3 times is not a coincidence. I'm sorry, that's a lot.
He
was it more? Was it 4 or was it 3?
He was the Greg Williams assassin for the night.
So when Logan Wilson calls you, it just says unknown number. That's that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do predictions. We're running out a little bit of time. Predictions for the game. Who wants to go first?
Eagles win.
Eagles win by 30. No, I'm just playing.
Eagles win. Jalen Hurts and James Bradbury blame themselves for losing the Super Bowl. They're team leaders. They're gonna have everybody ready. Nick Sirianni, you know how he feels about stuff like this. Like, I'm not a big emotion is going to carry a team guy, but I think emotion is actually going to carry this game and stuff. And the more I hear other people talk about the Chiefs, like the Chiefs fans look like us now. The more I hear other people talk about the Chiefs, we had Matt Connor come on. Like Matt Connor doesn't believe the Chiefs are going to win, so I'm actually going to have to go Eagles here.
You said I'm trying not to be emotional with my pick here, so because I want to say something kind of disrespectful to Kansas City. I'm just not a believer in them this year. I know that they have a great record, blah blah blah. I'm good. The Eagles win. I'm gonna say 10 points.
Ooh, okay. I don't know about 10 points. I think if I was not an Eagles fan, I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at us going into Arrowhead. They won the Super Bowl. I would say the Chiefs were winning if I was looking on stats alone. But I agree with Jeff. I think emotion is going to carry this game. I think Jalen Hurts has had this circled on his calendar since the schedule dropped. And I think that the Eagles have not played their best football yet. We know this. I think on Monday, we're going to see just a whole different side of the Eagles team. And they're going to win 100%. I have full faith in them.
So I want to be consistent. Did we write down our picks for the schedule when
we should have
when we
I wrote down the record. I said 4-1. Tressany said 4-1. You said 3-2. Trav said 4-1, but I bullied him into the Cowboys pick.
Yeah, because
me too.
I said 3-2. I just don't remember if I said they were going to win this one or not.
You said I remember you saying that. I was whooping the Eagles loss. I think you said
that don't matter, Brandon. What do you think right now?
I think you said Eagles lose this one. They beat 49ers, if I remember correctly. I'm just saying.
Don't help them, trust me. Right?
No, because here's my dilemma, right? I don't want
to. You said I lone wolf it. I said that the Eagles were going to lose this game. Everybody else picked the Eagles.
I do think the Eagles win this one because I do think their offense is able to overcome the Chiefs' defense, and I do think that with the lack of Kansas City skill weapons, they do enough on defense with their front seven to win this game. And I don't think it's a blowout either way. I don't think it's a low scoring game. I think you're going to get like a 30-27, 35-31 type game where, Eagles have one drive where they shut down the Chiefs, and that's the difference in the game. My thought process was I wasn't 100% sure. I was pretty sure I picked them to win this one and then lose to the 49ers. But I also didn't want us to have...
The 49ers and the Seahawks were your losses, I think. It was either the 49ers and it was the Seahawks or the Cowboys was your other loss. 49ers was your first loss.
No, then I might have picked them to lose. Whatever. I'll pick them to win this week. Who cares? I think they're going to go 3-2 the next stretch regardless. I just didn't want us to have all 5 picks to beat the Jinx. I was going to sacrifice...
I don't believe in that.
I was going to sacrifice myself up to be the lone contrarian, but I'm not going to be the lone contrarian. I think win this game.
So I found mine from earlier.
That chicken scratch.
Yeah, no, I had bad handwriting. That's why I wrote I typed out the presentation and didn't just do it on pieces of paper and hold it up. Yeah, for mine I had win against Kansas City, loss against Buffalo. I actually had the Eagles losing both of the Kelly Green things, but I was wrong. I have 2 scores. I have the Eagles winning by 3, but 2 scores that I could go with. One, if the Sunday night game goes under, because the unders in primetime games have been hitting at a rapid clip. If the Sunday night game goes under, this game is going to go over, and it will be a 35-32, something like that. Or maybe a 28-24. Let's say 28-25 would be 3 points, whatever. If the Sunday night game goes over, I think this game is going to be a 20-17. Does that make sense?
25 Eagles.
Sweet. Is that did we all get our picks in?
Yep.
Yes,
all right.
Indeed. Time to go watch Wembanyama and the Spurs.
Well, we got one last thing. Trust me, you haven't done this yet. So Brandon came up with this idea. We're talking about what the storyline going into next week, going into week 12. What do you think the storyline going into week 12 is going to be? And we can go around.
National media storyline. Oh shit, we were wrong about the Eagles all this time. They really are the best team. That might be a little long for a headline, but no.
Eagles top everyone's power rankings, and it's still the underdogs against San Francisco.
I'm tired of San Francisco.
Same.
My God.
San Francisco is going to be favored in that game.
I think for me, it's Jalen Hurts basically pacing with Lamar Jackson for NFL MVP.
Okay. I like that. Trusting you got one, or you still got time you still want time to think?
Let me have a little bit more time to think.
Okay. For me, so like I said, it's going to be a 3-point game. I think that's we haven't had a Jake Elliott game winner in a minute. I think that's where it's going to come from. Yeah. Jake Elliott, top 2 kicker, and then the other one is going to be DeAndre Swift goated.
Ooh, I like.
That's where I'm at, especially if we're talking about the running game being the way that this is going to go. That being, man, I don't want to do 3, but the other one could be Rashad Penny's an Eagle.
I wish.
Surprise.
Eagles have never beaten Andy Reid as an opposing head coach. Jason Kelce has never won a game against Travis in the NFL.
I believe
until we do.
Yeah.
I think that the narrative coming out of week 11, going into week 12, AJ Brown will be the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to have a big night. And I think people will finally realize that he is, in fact, better than Tyreek Hill. I'm going that far. I am. I don't care. And I also think that this game will show people that Jalen Hurts is a lot better than they give him credit for. So I think the headline is going to surround Jalen and or AJ.
And the holding call will still be this.
Yes. We been knew that though. We been knew that. I was very much kidding earlier. James Bradbury did not lose the Super Bowl. Nobody quote me on that. I was so joking.
I already clipped it.
It's too late, Preston. Whoever felt that way stopped watching a long time ago.
They already blocked me on Twitter. It was so crazy.
Yes, they took it straight to James.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else? Any other closing thoughts or anything like that?
I have one thing to say. I saw a clip from the Eagles presser yesterday, and Jalen Hurts was smiling. So we're winning the game by that alone. So I just wanted everybody to know that Jalen Hurts' smile has won us the game. And it
the brace is gone. The brace is gone.
The brace is gone, and Jalen is happy. And we know Jalen's usually just very stone cold, like no emotion whatsoever. So him happy, we're winning.
And my headphones are gone. I figured out how to do this. Like
that's a storyline going into next week. Jeff got his headphones figured out.
There we go. You won it for us. Thanks, Jeff. We appreciate your hard work.
Appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for sitting around, watching us, joining us. The Eagles are going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Taylor Swift, her attendance still up in the air in the Buenos Aires. That was good. I crushed that joke. Oh, my God. Probably.
There's another headline. Taylor Swift shows up in a split jersey. Eagles.
I was just about to say she's an Eagles fan.
Taylor Swift's gonna be a headline somewhere. She's gonna show up with an Eagles Chiefs split jersey. She's gonna sit next to Mama Kelsey.
Well, I was talking about this before the show. And so she's in Buenos Aires right now. She's got a show on Saturday and Sunday. But there's supposed to be really terrible weather in Buenos Aires right now. She has done shows in the rain before, but this is supposed to be like next level kind of downpour stuff. So there's a chance that instead of postponing these shows to like 6 months down the road, a year down the road, they could postpone the shows to Monday, which would mean that she would not be able to be there. And that's important because we've seen the stats. We all know how much better Travis Kelce is when he's playing in front of his girlfriend because he got flex nuts. So that could, believe it or not, the numbers are there. Just like I proved to everybody that Patrick Mahomes is indeed a system quarterback.
And the damn straight, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you on Tuesday after the game. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Baby.